So, welcome to the second in a series of Teachappy expert vlog interviews. I'm delighted to have with me today Professor Dylan Wiliam. Dylan is Emeritus Professor of Educational Assessment at the University College London. Before that, he taught in inner city London schools for several years, and he's probably most famous for his academic work, which over the last 15 years has focused on the use of assessment to support learning. And his new book, Creating the Schools Our Children Need, is out now. So thank you very much for joining me today, Dylan.
Great to be with you, Adrian.
Excellent, thank you. So a topic that features heavily in your new book is that of the knowledge-rich curriculum. And in your book, you say that people are often sceptical of a knowledge-rich curriculum, and people who advocate it are often accused of adopting the beliefs of the character Mr. Gradgrind in the Dickens novel Hard Times. And in that book, Mr. Gradgrind famously says, now what I want is facts. Teach the boys and girls nothing but facts. Facts alone, sir, are what is needed. So my first question is, what is a knowledge-rich curriculum and why is it important?
I think the basic idea behind a knowledge-rich curriculum is a curriculum that is explicitly designed to communicate knowledge to students. And the reason I've become increasingly convinced about this over the last 20 years is the research from cognitive science is now showing clearly that what distinguishes experts from novices is not skill, but knowledge. Mm-hmm. So, for example, John Sweller, an Australian cognitive scientist, says, novices have to use thinking skills, experts use knowledge. So I want to make it clear that I don't mean just facts. One of my favorite examples is a history teacher who asks the class, when was the Treaty of London signed? And one student says 1604. And the other student says, I don't know, but it must have been early in the 17th century, because by 1608, a permanent settlement had been established in Jamestown, Virginia, and previous settlements had failed because they required a continuous stream of supplies from England, which had been disrupted by the Spanish warships. And that dispute, although Spanish warships were given a huge setback in the defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588, the actual dispute and the freeing of the North Atlantic sea lanes wasn't actually done until the Treaty of London. Mm-hmm. So the point is that the second student doesn't know the date, but she does understand how all those facts fit together and why the Treaty of London is important. So what I'm suggesting is that what we see in the knowledge of experts is the connections between these pieces. Mm-hmm. In science, for example, we might teach students about the power of thinking about physical situations in terms of heat rather than cold. So when we touch a cold metal object on a cold day, our immediate reaction is the cold is coming into my fingers. Mm-hmm. But scientists have learned to think about this in a different way. They've learned to think about this as the heat escaping from your hand. And the reason that a metal handle feels colder than a wooden handle is because the metal handle conducts heat away from your hand more quickly. What is interesting is that university physicists, when asked these kinds of physical questions, they often respond. Their first reaction is the naive, intuitive response, but then their physicist training kicks in and they say, no, I must think about this in a different way. And this is the point that was made by Daniel Kahneman in his book, Thinking Fast and Slow. The point is we often have these intuitive reactions, and then if we have better knowledge about these situations, the more thoughtful, slow thinking kicks in, and we're able to think about this in more powerful ways. So for me, most of our school curriculum should be giving students these powerful ways of thinking. And they are basically knowledge. They are stored in long-term memory. And I think we've taken a wrong turning by thinking about skills, because skills really don't exist. As E.D. Hirsch says, skill is content and content is skill. Skill is stored in the brain as long-term memory. It's knowledge. Right. People often resist that. They say, well, they mean facts. And I say, but you don't really mean that, because you can say, I ask you, do you know how to ride a bicycle? And they say, yes, I know how to ride a bicycle. So that's knowledge. Yeah. If you know how to do something, it's knowledge. So it's in that very broad sense that I use the term knowledge. And that's the way the psychologists tend to use it as well.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.